Question that's asking us to work with inequalities, and it's x and y are integers, so we need to remember that integers mean whole numbers. So x is such that it's bigger than 3, less than 7, but not equal to them. Y is such, and x plus y equals 13. So this telling us here that x plus y must equal 13. Find all the possible values. Okay, so if x is 4, let's do a little table, x and y. Right, so if x is 4, y would have to be 9 to get to be 13. But the problem is it's saying less than 13, so that one won't count. And it's telling us that they're integers. So just going through logically, if x is 5, y would be 8, that's okay. If x is 6, y would have to be 7. Okay, that's fine, and that's basically it, isn't it? Because we can't have x as 7 and x as 3 couldn't have, so we can only have between here 4, 5 and 6 as its whole numbers. So those are the only two values. So find all the possible values of x. Well, the answer here then would be 5 and 6. Because of the conditions given here, and it's asked for all the possible values of x. Okay, it's then asked us to work with a grid, so it's asking us to represent the region defined by these inequalities. So let's go through. So y has got to be greater than or equal to -1. What you normally find with this is you end up drawing boundary lines. So the boundary line you can determine by thinking of it as y equals something. So the boundary for this one is going to be y equals -1. The boundary for this one is going to be y equals 4 take away x. And the boundary for this one is going to be y is equal to 3x take away 1. Okay, so everybody has different ways of doing things. I'm just going to put some numbers in and get some coordinates if needs be. So this one's telling me that y is always equal to -1. So that's going to be a horizontal line because every y coordinate on there will be worth -1. So that's the boundary. Now because it says greater than or equal to, we can draw solid lines. If it just said greater than, then the line we should draw should be dashed. Label up to show the examiner what we're doing. So this is y equals -1. Now it says by shading the region defined. So y is greater than or equal to -1. So I'm going to shade out anything below. No, I'm not, because they're saying by shading. We'll shade the region that they actually want. Because it says the region defined by the inequalities. So let's do them all on the sheet, and then we'll see what goes on from there. So y equals 4 take away x. So if I just choose some coordinates for x, and I can work out the y values, that'll work for me. So if I choose x as 0, 4 take away 0 is 4. If x is 1, y would be 3, because 4 take away 1 is 3. If x is 2, 4 take away 2 is 2. And if x is 3, and if x is 4, 4 take away 4 is 0. So we know that that is the line. So again, we'd label, show the examiner what we're doing. So y equals 4 take away x. And then it says that the other line has got to be y equals 3x take away 1. Quickest way of drawing a linear line, because we know this is kind of the format y equals mx plus c. So it's going to be a straight line where m is the gradient and c is the intercept point on the y-axis. So the intercept point is -1. And the gradient of 3 tells me for every one across on the x-axis I go up 3 on the y. So for every one I go across I go up 3. So 1, 2, 3. Every one across I go up 3. 1, 2, 3. And I can check that the coordinate works. So when x is 2, then 3 times 2 take away 1 is 5. So 3 times 2 is 6, take away 1 is 5, so that coordinate works. So there's lots of ways of doing that. But drawing the 3 coordinates allows us to line the ruler up, and then we can draw our line up. And again label up. So y equals 3x take away 1. Okay, so it says by shading define the region, show the region defined by the inequalities. So y has got to be bigger than -1, so that means we're up here. Y has got to be less than 4 take away x, so we've got to be below and y has got to be less than 3x to equal 1, so we've got to be down here. It's bounded by 3 inequalities, so it's likely to be this triangle here, but obviously you should check it by going through the things, but go through each of the inequalities, and we shade in to show the region that we're interested in. And that would be the answer for that question. So defining a region defined by given inequalities.